Hey, good morning, everybody. Coming to you from beautiful Quartzsite out in the desert in La Posa South, LTVA, at 7:02 a.m. on November 18th, 2024. And per your requests, a little bit of weather. It's currently 44 degrees, expecting a high of 71 today under clear skies. Looks like maximum winds will happen afternoon, as they usually do, at 14 miles per hour. It'll gradually get up to that and then calm back down to about 9 miles per hour. So it's not a terribly uncomfortable thing. It's pretty great. So the rest of the week, high temps going forward by day: 68, 72, 73, and 75. A little bit of a touch of cloudiness, looks like, on Thursday, but just a touch. So beautiful conditions out here in Quartzsite. So let's get going with today's comments. Oh, in case you've been following this and you're curious about the surprise popularity of one of my videos, my complete Quartzsite boondocking campsite, seems to the overnight the views have calmed down. They stopped going up, so we're settling around 12,000. Right now it's at 12,300 views. For me, big. That's a really big deal. So the first one is, what a shock! This is a shock. Give me a minute. Ken Gray is the first one to comment today. Ken says on the making the long form video lived up to its name. The long form video yesterday was 1 hour and 13 minutes, 47 seconds long. And I was always concerned, are people not going to watch my longer videos? Well, 2,600 views since yesterday. So that's a big, it's not 12,000, but 12,000 is such an outlier. That's crazy. I usually get 500. When I'm in Quartzsite, I get 1,000. Right now, this is 2,600, so very thrilled with that. It's making the rounds in Quartzsite. I start off walking around camp with the flying selfie stick, and I drove into town and did some errands and showed you some places and gave you some information, and took Dottie with me. And Ken says, you can tell how reluctant Dottie is to get away and ride in the car. If she was just a bit less eager, it would be hard to restrain her. Yeah, she was pretty. Dottie likes to go for a ride in the car, don't you, Dottie? She's not even picking her head up. It's like, it's too early for me, Dad. All right, Elwood. Hi, Rob. It's your buddy Elwood. I'm a little confused again. You've mentioned, quote, if Amazon sends your package to USPS, it will get rejected at the post office. But the post office is USPS, so I'm confused. And you said it twice in this video. I'm trying to decipher this quote you keep saying, and I'm using mental telepathy, so it's hard. Do you mean if Amazon sends your package UPS or FedEx, the USPS won't accept it? Because you keep saying USPS because you mean maybe you mean UPS. He goes on, but I understand. I'm not going to read the rest of it because I'm just going to boil it down to what I was trying to tell you is a pretty complex situation. And let me try to state it in a way that might make some sense, better sense than yesterday. So the topic really is, I'm going to be in Quartzsite and I want to get packages. I want to, in sort of more generically, I want to be able to order Amazon and get my stuff here in Quartzsite. How do I do that? Well, first thing you can do is you can have you can join a mail service like I do. I talk about Moon Mountain Mail, and they're 3 mail services. And when you sign up and pay them for a membership, here's how it works. The post office in Quartzsite doesn't do any direct deliveries to residences or businesses. If you're like full-time people and businesses have post office boxes, and that's it. There's no street delivery in Quartzsite. So I go to sign up with Moon Mountain Mail, and I pay them. As part of the paperwork, they say, hey, you have to fill out United States Postal Service paperwork, because the way it works is when you address your stuff, it's going to be delivered to our PO box. And by law, your name needs to be associated with our PO box or they will not accept it. So I sign all the paperwork and everything works fine. No matter how things get sent to that PO box, if my name's on it, whether it's USPS, Postal Service, UPS, or FedEx, everything's going to be cool. All right, so that's not a problem. So let's say I don't want to pay that. Well, they say, we'll take your packages if you're not a member here for $5 a package. However, that does not include the Postal Service, because what's going to happen is a package comes in with your name on it, and they're going to check the name at the post office, and if it's not associated with our P.O. box, they're going to send it back. UPS and FedEx, they don't go through the post office. They come to the physical address, so you're going to be fine. And one of the things I wanted to emphasize in this video, when I went and visited and chatted with the owner of Moon Mountain Mail, unfortunately, they're so popular that they have no more post office boxes. So for the public, they would only be able to take for the $5 UPS and FedEx packages. The problem is that if I order something from Amazon, I have no control over the shipment method. And sometimes they use Postal Service, in which case I would order, a TV or whatever, a widget on Amazon, and they'd ship it Postal Service. So we get to the post office, and the post office say, this guy's not on our list for this post office box, which is Moon Mountain Mail's post office box, and we're going to return it to sender. And he said, well, can I have packages sent to general delivery at the post office? Yes, of course you can. But I've had the experience, and this might have changed, but I don't think so, where I've put in in Amazon a general delivery post office address, and it got rejected. It didn't work. They don't do it. So, and I think that's the added complication is there are many post offices that will not take for general delivery FedEx or UPS, only postal. So you've kind of got the opposite problem here. So you can see why this is so complicated. So if you're coming here this year and you want to get your Amazon packages, you basically have right now two choices. Moon Mountain is not going to be an option for you unless you want to gamble that all your packages are going to come UPS or FedEx. There is BCM Mail, and there is Ironwood Outpost. Those are the names. And you can BCM Mail, Quartzsite, search for that. You can find it. And the other one is Ironwood Outpost, Quartzsite, search for that. And I believe you can sign up there, but it will cost you a fee. My fee, I think, is $89 a year at Moon Mountain Mail. And to me, it's well worth it. I get a ton of packages. So, I'm wondering how many people exited out in the middle of this very boring speech. It's a very interesting speech if you have any interest in getting packages in Quartzsite and not sure what to do. But if you don't, it probably put you to sleep. I'm sorry about that. So let's go forward. And Elwood, I hope I answered your question. I did try to explain it in responding to you, but this is a more thorough explanation. Al Etcheman, she saved a baby's life is the positive news story, and the comment is beautiful. On the Making the Rounds, Leona Rosales says, funny you said you're giddy about being in Quartzsite. I was there many years ago when I was young, and now as an older person, I want to go back. I'm feeling the giddiness through your videos, so yes, I can feel it. Okay, that's great. All right, we have Diane Toby's Adventures. Nice setup, everything you need and nothing you don't. That's my boondocking camp video. If you use Michael Gunzelman says, if you use, this is on Starlink, if you use the residential plan at $120 a month, all you need to do is change your address in the system when you move locations. And he's right. You know, I have the grandfathered residential with Rome. It's $145. Theoretically, I could change it to just residential and change my address every time I move. I haven't done that because back in the beginning where you had to change your address, you might get to a place that didn't have availability, so it wouldn't let you change the address. And you know, I don't know what the current, I know it's way different now, and then it's pretty much available anywhere, but they can always block an area, and I just don't want to take the risk. The Journal Magpie. I'm an absolute newbie to the camping world. I just purchased a 2000 Pleasureway van, and I hope to be on the road soon after some repairs. I'm really enjoying your videos. How do you know where to park your rig in Quartzsite? I see the main roads, but once off of them, I don't really see any smaller roads or actual markers for camping areas. Is it basically a free-for-all? And I just linked a video in this comment, and my video is Quartzsite for beginners. It explains all that in some detail. So I didn't get a thumbs up on that, so I'm not sure and that was the Journal Magpie, whether the Journal Magpie saw that response or not. JB Madeira, I really enjoy your videos. Well, thank you, JD. And Leona Rosales, thank you for the weather information. Really appreciate it. Funny comment about being too hot while sitting in the sun and needing a jacket while sitting in the shade. It's true. Got a good lasso. I experienced that myself. It's pronounced here in the desert. Adventure by the mile. Is there a special place for people in vans? And I said the only restriction for a van that does not have a built-in black tank is they must park within 500 feet of a vault toilet if you're staying in one of the LTVA long-term visitor areas. Otherwise, vans are just everywhere. People car vans, cars, tents, everything. Just wanted to say thank you for all. This is Super Dan. Just wanted to say thank you for all your Quartzsite videos. I've been here in Quartzsite for about 6 weeks, and thanks to your vids, I have everything I've needed. P.S. I find your camp at some point and come by to say hello. That's great. That's fine. Great camp setup. Do you worry about theft while you're away? This is from Sue Weiss. And I said, no, because I'm camping in a group. There's always someone here. I think I'd feel differently if I was out really remotely. I'd be a little worried. I wouldn't leave really expensive stuff out without it being thoroughly locked up. And I'm not there are lots of people that like, I need the solitude. I need to get out by myself. Not me. I don't do that. Benita Gomez, hola, and good day. I think the secretary guy should get in an RV camp in all areas and visit and mingle and chat with the peeps. They call the LTVs a home, all in the walks of life, baby. And I think, secretary, what's she? Oh, she's probably talking about the secretary, the new Secretary of Interior, because someone had suggested that maybe they'll prevent the rate increase. And I said, I think the little LTVA thing in the corner of the country raising the rates is not going to be on the new secretary's radar. But she says, well, he should get out there and camp, figure it out. Let's see. Maria Fuentes, Dottie, you are amazing. Great campsite. Thank you for sharing it with your viewers. May the Lord Jesus Christ keep you safe. Making the rounds in Quartzsite, Adventure by the Mile, or Carl's Jr. is called Hardee's. Yeah, I think it's the same restaurant, different labels, right? Different names, same company. Ken Gray, good solution. Glad they found a way. That is on the short, or not the short, the Positive News Stories, Elephants and Bees. Ken missed that the other day, so he's playing catch up a little bit. Don the First. I'm not sure precisely what she's responding to, but she says there are jobs available, but if you can make more money on welfare, who would go to work? Well, I responded to this, and I don't want this to go off on politics. And the stuff that I'm talking about is economics, right? And the only political thing is like we're talking about tariffs, and so I started kind of a discussion on taxes. So I don't know how we got here on this, but I really don't like bad information anywhere on the channel. So I corrected this and says, and first off, welfare is not a term that's used officially by the government anymore. It's called, you might have heard this, TANF, and it's an acronym, TANF. It's Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. That's the equivalent of welfare. That's a monthly payment that you get. There's no TANF benefit that comes anywhere near close to even the lowest income full-time job pays. The highest that I was able to find, and I didn't search real high, is $7.89 per month in New York, and the minimum wage job would be $12.56. And most people that get a job, and most of those jobs that are available right now, are paying more than, what is it, I can't remember what I use, $7.86 an hour, I think is the new national minimum wage, much higher in individual states. And it's temporary need, temporary assistance, not temporary need, temporary assistance. You can get it up for 5 years, but that's like, you once you exhaust that, you can't go back to the well anymore. And I don't know who can. Yeah, I mean, they guess they get food stamps too, but it's just that would be tough. You really. I guess you can make the argument there's this very small sliver of people that say, hey, I can do it on TANF for 5 years. I'm not going to go get a job. I'm just going to, if I can survive on my food stamps and TANF and Medicaid and all the rent assistance and all that stuff, I can see that some people would say, why should I bother finding a job if I'm getting paid to stay home? So there's the implication in the comment was there's some like huge number of people not taking those jobs, and because they're on TANF, and I think that's pretty solid misinformation. And if you got a I'd be willing to engage in this as long as it doesn't become political. If you have like government published information that says otherwise, that there are millions and millions of people that aren't getting work because they're staying on TANF, it's pretty hard to believe. But I'm always willing to be corrected. HHAM, your code is 111. I joke every once in a while in a video when I open I use my keyless entry on my truck, because when I do it on camera, people say, you shouldn't do that. People will be able to break into your truck now. And I usually say, hey, put in the comments if you think you know what I put in there, because you can't tell what I'm putting in there. It's my hand cover. It's just, you can't. So he guessed 111, and I said, nice try, but not even close. And it was not close. Ken Gray on saving, she saved a baby's life. What a lovely way for her to thank the world for having her husband. That was the positive news story of the day. On the comments video, Ken Gray says, don't take it wrong, but I watched the longer videos at 1.75 speed. And I said, Ken, that's a great idea. If I wanted to watch a YouTuber's hour and 13-minute video and I could understand what's going on at 1.75, hell, next time that happens to me, I'm going to try it. I don't know how to take that wrong. That's a great idea. Does it let you do, this is a good question. I'll figure this out myself, but I wonder, does it let you blast through the commercials that fast? Interesting. Mark Rogers says, do you use the truck or e-bike to dump the Blue Boy? If the bike, I'd like to see your setup for that. No way am I going to pull a 36-gallon tote filled. It's like 280 pounds with my little e-bike. Not happening. I actually put the tote in the bed of the pickup truck, and I use a macerator pump that pumps the waste under pressure into the tank, and then I drive to the dump station. Could I tow it with the truck? Yeah, but those totes are not designed to be towed at all over rough territory. They're designed to be towed short distances on paved roads, not on through the desert. And there's been multiple reports of people, their totes breaking open, and that's your tote breaks open and you put black water in the desert, like in one of the washes or something. I don't know if there's a fine for that. I bet there is. I think that's really bad. So I wouldn't take that risk. I think that's even a risk. There are people that tow their small totes with an e-bike. I've seen them, and I think you're taking a big risk. But anyway, Ken Gray says, "Yep, I did not find your good news video on elephants and bees until today. I gave you a comment for tomorrow, though." Okay. Let's see. On comments, Ken Gray says, "Experiments. When do you plan on testing the salt in the water? Curious minds want to know." Curious minds want to know, and 65-year-old mind forgot. So I said, "Ken, I forgot. I just ordered a good test kit. Will arrive by Friday." So I'm going to test the water here in La Posa South and give you the results that I get. And I'm probably going to test it multiple times to see if I get differences in the test result. If I get big differences in test results on multiple times and multiple samples in multiple days, I think I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna share what I got, but take it with a grain of salt because it's probably not accurate. But if I get consistent results, I'll tell you that. Boot 76. Okay, I'll ask the dreaded question. What about gray water? What is the consensus on dumping gray water? It's illegal to dump gray water in the LTVA. And on general BLM land, I don't know if it's technically illegal. It certainly is a violation of the leave no trace behind policy. But I do know it's a big no-no to just dump your gray water on the ground. Don't do it. Barb says, I have to get the fried chicken, yummy. And that's on the Making the Rounds in Quartzsite video, the long one. And on the comments video, Ken says, now there's something to remember for the future. When you have a strain getting the water jug in and out, you can get a longer hose for the pump. Problem solved and not much extra issues. I suppose that's right, but I don't anticipate straining just carrying that water jug 48 pounds from the truck on the hand, using the handle on the top from the truck to the trailer, the 10 feet for at least 10 years. But in 10 years, and also the longer the hose, the harder the pump has to work. I think this pump could probably handle a longer hose. I just don't know how much longer. Pete Diaz says, what a great ride along. Always good info for the newbies. Pete Diaz, another comment says, I always notice in your windshield a sticker that says 11 feet. Is that the height of your trailer? Because a lot of people forget about that, and I see videos of people tearing the roof equipment off. Great idea. Love the cute videos. Yeah, but since I've been towing, I've always done that. I put the height of my trailer on a little, it's on a sticker. Well, it's not really a sticker. I printed out a little square piece of paper with big font, 11 feet, and I taped it up there. It's been up there for years. That is the height from the ground to the clearance of my trailer. So if something's marked 11 feet or higher, I know I can go under. If it's less than that, if it's like 10'9", I know not to go under it. And I don't have to rely on my memory to, how high is it? Was it 10? Was it 11? Was it 12? It's there. So yeah, that's why that's there. Rex Moore, Pahrump's climate is not too different from Quartzsite, maybe 10 to 15 degrees. I'm wondering if you go to Quartzsite for the socialization. It's not traditional get out of the snow reason. I could be wrong. Well, I think you're maybe making the mistake of thinking Pahrump's my full-time home. It is my domicile. I'm there 6 months out of the year in an RV park, but I split that between the spring and the fall. And in the summer, I'm in northern New Mexico, and here I'm in the winter. I'm basically a nomad. And my decision to be here versus Pahrump fairly is one. I really love it down here, especially in the winter. Um, and socialization is a big reason. I do have less socialization in Pahrump than I do here. So that's fair. That's fair of you to suggest that. Certainly that's not the only reason. If you watch my videos, you can tell how much I love Quartzsite. And the upsides in Pahrump are I'm really near, down the road are all kinds of grocery stores and services. And unlike here, that access doesn't exist. And also, that's where I initially decided to do my domicile. I guess I could have done it in Quartzsite, but I like Pahrump for different reasons. So climate isn't the driving factor. So Robert Burns, Quartzsite looks great. Nice tour of your setup. Which direction and angle is your 6 solar panels tilted to the south? It looks slightly southeast. The angle's hard to guess. Any advantage to having your separate panels point east to getting more solar? Okay, let me address a couple of things that I've learned through personal experience on solar panels that sit on the ground. I have run a extensive experiment with my friend Tim last year on dirty solar panels. How much of a difference does it make cleaning your solar panels? The answer was almost none. Negligible. Not worth it. Not saying it's not worth it to clean it at all, but it's not worth cleaning them frequently. It doesn't make a difference. The other thing, I have these three pretty heavy metal framed in glass 200 watt solar panels that multiple times a day I would go out there and angle them to where the sun is. Like in the morning, I'd run out first thing in the morning, first light, they'll all be pointing east. And then I'd slowly rotate them during the day and end up pointing west as the sun was setting. That made more of a difference than cleaning. But then I realized, one caveat of that is that I got to be aware of the wind. And I had a friend of mine with the same model solar panel. I had a wind gust took his and smashed it. Threw it out, it smashed, destroyed. They're not cheap. The other thing is I have enough battery, so I don't really have a strong need to maximize the solar input. So what I decided to do is just put them in the middle, right? Face them south and put big rebar stakes in the ground and I zip tied all 3 of the panels together, then zip tied them to 4 of these stakes. So a 70 mile an hour wind, these panels aren't going anywhere. I don't have to worry about them. I'm no longer cleaning them constantly. I'm definitely not moving them at all during the day. And the result is I don't worry about my solar anymore. It's a piece of cake. So that's the answer. And the thing is, I have enough. I have 600 amp hours of battery, and let's see. I have not it's 7:30, and there's not enough solar out there to trigger the charging yet. So but any minute it'll start charging. And I'm at 82%. What does that tell you? And yesterday was a typical day. And that tells you I've got way more than enough battery capacity. So lower amounts of solar coming in is not a factor. I'm way more relaxed about my solar setup this year than any other year. It was like this race to get, am I going to get to 100%? This obsessing to get to 100% every day. And it's ridiculous. You don't need to do that. You do need to it's a good idea to get to 100% maybe once a month. And even if you have to use your generator to do that, to get it at that 100% for maybe a couple hours so the cells can balance. But other than that, you don't need to be getting to 100% during the day. I've like last night, I think I got to 99 at the end of the day. So anyway, again, I'm boring people that don't care about this stuff. Sorry. Naj says, great video. Love the Quartzsite tour. I bet by the time I get to Quartzsite, I will know my way around from seeing your videos. I hope so, Naj. Blaze I always want to say Blazer Bell. It's Blaze Rebel. If you want to see scorpions, you only have to use ultraviolet flashlight at night. I keep one handy. I have an ultraviolet flashlight that I bought for that very reason, and I went out quite a few nights and I couldn't find any scorpions. I guess that's good news, but it would have been cool to see some. Marilyn Decker, why did you choose AT&T and not Starlink? Just wondering. Besides price, I have both. I was talking about. See, once a week I have my Zoom sessions that are very important for no interruptions. So I feel obligated to have dual connections that bond together when I do these Zoom sessions. So I need two separate connections. So if Starlink goes down, the AT&T's there and vice versa. And it's in packet by packet, in second by second. So I have both. If I had to choose, I'd keep the Starlink because Starlink isn't dependent on the location of a cell tower. So I can get Starlink anywhere. Randy on She Saved a Baby's Life. Good karma. I agree. Robert Nasser on Making the Rounds. Looks like you're in LTVA South. You can pay with a card online, print out the paper and take it there. Does Amazon have a delivery box there? And no, there's no Amazon lockers really anywhere near. There may be in Yuma, but certainly not here, not in Parker, not in Blythe. You would think, and he says you'd think it'd be good to have one of them there. I don't know why. I don't know what the requirements are for Amazon. They have one. I know in New Mexico they have them at these service stations, sprinkled through all through the state. And I would think Amazon would pay the retailer for the space, or I don't know how it works. If anyone knows what the requirements are and how it works financially, put it in the comments. John Hersberger says, good video on Making the Rounds. Marilyn Decker on the same video says our Canada Postal Service is on strike. Oh, bummer. They're on strike. What do they do with like medications in the mail? Do they stop those too? It's kind of hard to believe. There are remote areas of Canada that I would think would depend on Postal Service delivery of essential things like medications. Cushman on comments, cheap linking light on your rig to find in the dark. Actually, that's not a bad idea. You still have a problem if you're wandering around trying to find your rig in the dark and say, oh, I see it there. I see my blinking light, and you head straight for it. You could drive right into a wash. So you need to be careful there, but that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Some people, I think there are people that do that for sure. D.D. Connell says, have they went up on the LTVA fee? And I say no, still $180. We don't know for sure. No one knows for sure on that yet. As soon as it's announced for sure, you'll probably see 100 YouTube videos on it. So, Naj, I couldn't imagine being the mother of that child. She saved a baby's life. A baby needed a liver transplant, like at birth. The stranger gave of herself to save someone else's child. I would be forever indebted to her. She has such a big heart. May God bless her. Well said. Debbie, Quartzsite Sunset. It's so pretty. That's just a little short I did of the sunset the other night. Not even really a spectacular Quartzsite Sunset. There are spectacular ones. I can't wait for the first one. I mean, blazing, brilliant, total red sky across it's amazing. Randy, what a beautiful morning. Great info. It's great to see you so excited and happy. And Random Spirit says, so when you need to dump your black tank, do you leave the rug and everything there and trust it will still be there when you get back? Or do you have to pack it all up, go dump, and then set it all up again when you return? I have a tote, so I never move my trailer. There's a kind of short answer to that. But the idea of packing up everything I've done out there to go to the dump station is not happening ever, ever, ever. It takes hours to set up my camp for the winter, for the season. No way. So if I did feel like I need to, drag my trailer to the dump station, I'll do that. But I'll leave my stuff here, and I don't care whether I have to hire a guard to stand. I mean, I camp in a group of people, so it wouldn't be an issue. And the people in camp with their Class Cs, they go and do it once a week, twice a week, and it's not a big deal. They leave everything there. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet. There's services that will come out and pump out your tanks and give you fresh water and do everything for you, like you're at an RV park. But I think it's close to $100 to do it. It's not cheap. And you know what? I will do it this season at least once to see what it's like. The only concern I have using the tote, I don't have an opportunity to flush out my black tank all winter. And I've been lucky so far that nothing's built up, but I should at least, I think maybe once a month. What do you think? I should hire the service to come out? Nah, that's a little too frequent. Once every 2 months. So a couple of times I think I should hire the service to come out. Well, and I'll do a video on it. I'll show what they're doing and how much they're charging and everything. Debbie, thank you for taking us on a tour. I really enjoyed it. Now I'm excited because you're so excited. You made me excited about being there. And Dottie, she's such a good girl. And you're such a gentleman. Well, thank you, Debbie. Jesse Head, very helpful. Thanks so much. I'm glad it was helpful for you. Beet Farmer, are there any work opportunities or volunteer jobs available in town? I said, for sure, join Quartzsite Chatter on Facebook. That's where I get my local Quartzsite information. You do have to put up with some typical social media nonsense. The moderators are pretty good keeping the terrible comments out, but mostly there's good information there. Before I go into town, I check it to see if anything's going on. Is there any accidents or traffic jams or whatever? Pamela Knoll, making the rounds in Quartzsite, says, I went on the trip to Quartzsite with you and loved every minute. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Pamela. And Tommy is, bless you. Thanks for taking us along. Just got back from New Hampshire on my walk this morning before coming home to a pair of bald eagles flew over my head about 30 feet over me and landed in a tree near me. What an amazing way to start a walk along Lake Winnipesaukee. And he guessing my code at 22122 221122. Sorry, not even close again. But here's something interesting. He's like, New Hampshire, I get that. What's Lake Winnipesaukee? Well, I grew up on that lake in Meredith. That's Lake Winnipesaukee. We had a house right on the lake. I also went to prep school nearby in New Hampton. So I know that area well. Great memories. And on my comments video, Jay Jansen says, taxes are not quite that simple. And I responded, no doubt, zero chance I'm any kind of expert on taxes. I think I mentioned, I've always thought, wouldn't it be great to have a national sales tax and no income tax? Because I would feel like I had more control over how much tax I paid, because I can decide to buy stuff or not buy stuff. And he says, they're not that simple. Well, no doubt. I'm definitely not a finance channel or even a tax channel. Debbie, nice walk with Dottie. My dog does that. He has to smell too. That means she stops frequently. Yes, getting your fifth wheel will be good for more room. Nice to meet George. Hope all goes well with your hip surgery and speed of recovery. Couple explanations there. When I move into and get the spot at the Escapees Co-op Park in Pahrump in 2+ years, where I have a permanent spot. I'm going to have probably a fifth wheel or a park model on that spot permanently, but I'm not giving up this trailer. I'll still be traveling in this. In the fifth wheel, I won't even have a truck to tow it. I'll have to pay someone, or the park model, I'll have to pay someone to deliver it, and it'll be stationary full time there. And the hip surgery, been waiting to get Medicare. I've been struggling with bone on the right hip and with my arthritis for a couple of years now, and couldn't afford the surgery without robust Medicare, with a supplement plan and everything, a Part G plan. So when I get back to Pahrump, I'll be visiting a orthopedic surgeon and making plans to make that happen. Enjoyed the whole video, Rob. Thanks so much. Treats and scratches for the king and queen. That's Robin Goff. And Bradley Whitehall, great video. Since you're in Quartzsite, have you been to Scooter's restaurant next to Patty's? They serve awesome food, including fresh camel burgers. I don't think it's real camel meat, but I'm sure they call it camel burgers. They're delicious. Definitely try them out. Super nice folks too. I will check that out. Absolutely. I will check out Scooter's restaurant. I didn't notice it, but I'm going to check it out. And Marcel Only says, Dottie, so patient. And another Chester's Chicken. Maybe that when I went by Love's and I saw like a brand sign. Was it Chester's? Maybe it was, and he's telling me it's Chester's Chicken because I wasn't sure what it meant. Brian Applegate says, loved your videos, Dottie, such a cutie. Have fun. Thank you. Like that pump setup to pump fresh water into tank. What's the name of the system? As it looks simple to do. It's a Ryobi. It's a Ryobi pump. They're about $119 on Amazon. Thank you for the wonderful video. That's from Karen Hegeveld. And Nancy Mandera says, I'm just starting to watch, but I wanted to say right off, Dottie seems so happy to be back in Quartzsite. And this is today's video that I released early this morning. Quartzsite Exploring Camp in La Posa South. That's about a 20-minute video. And on the setup video, Julie Hood says, awesome setup. The benefit of having a towable you can leave. Yeah, definitely. And I refreshed, there are a couple more. Oh, there's only one more. That's a good one. He says, my nomadic dream says, how do you deal with commenters that tell you how you should have done a video or should have included infinite when they tend to be very pushy about it? You know what? That's a really good question. And that gives me the opportunity. I talk a lot about kindness and empathy, don't I? I do. And I am not anywhere near at the level I want to be with that. And those comments give me the opportunity to exercise that muscle, because my initial reaction is always the emotional reaction is it's defensiveness and maybe some irritation, right? Rarely do people like to be told what to do or what they should do. And the more direct the comment is, the more sort of initial negative reaction I have. So it gives me the opportunity when I have that negative reaction to do some internal thinking about that and processing it, and say, I had a job years ago where I had sort of a chief of staff sort of person who I gave the assignment to work on a really good program for sort of the mission and philosophy of the organization. And he came up with a really good program. And the number one thing that he said on our principles, and I'll never forget this, is we think the highest and best of the intentions of our coworkers, subordinates, superiors, and partners. And what he meant by that was, when you get delivered information that such and such did something wrong or did something that seems bad on the surface, he's saying our first place that we want to consciously go was that they had the best of intentions. They didn't have ill intentions. And he said, until proven otherwise, right? But often we go to, when we hear that someone did something, we go quickly to they had bad intentions. So that's where my internal dialogue starts. And the latest one was, there were a lot of comments on basically how I'm doing my water filling wrong. I was all excited about getting this new pump and figuring out how to do it. It really worked for me. And I was getting people telling me there's a better way to do that. And that was, that created that sort of defensive thing. And I did think that through, and I said, all these people were trying to do was to give me information to help prevent me from hurting my back. What? So it helps that annoyance dissipate, and it schools my response. Now, from a practical standpoint, if someone's really nasty about something, I just delete the comment and sort of hide their comments from the page. And a lot of people don't understand that that's maybe happened to them. They'll do a really nasty, ugly comment, and they'll see he's not responding, so they send tons of increasingly terrible comments, I assume, because after that first comment, I never see them, and neither do you. There's a function that says I can hide a user from the channel, and they're free to watch my videos as much as they want. They're free to comment as much as they want, and they'll see their comments, but they'll be the only ones that see those comments. And I've had someone figure that out, and they created a new channel and came in and did another comment. I knew it's the same person, so I just blocked that one too. I can keep ahead of it in those situations because it's one click for me. It's really hard for them to create a new channel and write the comment and everything, so it's a lot less effort for me. So I usually win. But that's not what my nomadic dream is talking about. Also, people say you should do this in the video, you should do that in the video, and I get a little defensive about that too. But I stop and I think, okay, I'm annoyed, but am I missing maybe a good idea? And here's a good example. Someone said, and it wasn't nasty, it wasn't even really direct. It says you should do you need to talk about the weather. And I thought about that. I said, a lot of people might, if I expanded upon the weather on the daily comments video, that might be useful for some people. So I decided, you know what? That's a good idea. So I fight that instinct that we have when we feel criticized to be defensive. So anyway, my nomadic dream. That's a great, great comment. Thank you so much for that. And that's going to be it for today. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you.